Viewers, the Voterless revision process ahead of the all-important Bihar Assembly polls has raised the opposition's hackles. Leaders of the I.N.D.I.A bloc yesterday met the Election Commission over this exercise, and 20 leaders from 11 parties of the opposition met the Commission to convey their objections. For the I.N.D.I.A bloc, this is an attack on the Constitution. The Congress has accused the EC of not allowing their leaders to meet officials, as only 2 representatives from each party were allowed. Congress says the Election Commission is a constitutional body and it has a responsibility to hear the opposition, which they claim the Election Commission isn't doing. They further add that the Commission's conduct over the last 6 months reflects a clear disregard for democratic values. In response, the Election Commission made it clear that the exercise was being conducted in accordance with Article 326 of the Constitution. The Commission maintained that each concern raised during the meeting was addressed in full and that the ECI will only take cognizance of the registered party heads for meeting over special revision of electoral rolls. BJP today says the Congress and opposition's repeated complaints is only a reflection of their frustration over repeated failures.
Whose decision is this to give 1 month for this mammoth exercise of preparing a new voters list for 8 crore voters of Bihar? We are sure that officers who are sitting in the Election Commission are intelligent. They cannot come up with something as stupid as this. This has to come from the political leadership, which is the BJP.
चुनाव आयोग पे लगातार सवाल उठ रहे हैं। अगर न्यायपालिका कुछ हस्तक्षेप करती है, कुछ नियम कानून बनाती है, तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी उनको बदल देती है। चुनाव आयोग की निष्पक्षता को लेके, पारदर्शिता को लेके जो सवाल लगातार उठ रहे हैं, वो पूरे देश के सामने। चुनाव आयोग पारदर्शी तरीके से चुनाव नहीं कराना चाहता, इसलिए जो सवाल हैं वो सवाल जरूर उठाए जाएंगे।
Both Congress and I.N.D.I.A are frustrated because of their continuous failures. So they see a big failure in Bihar also, number one. Number two, Congress is got a double standards.
All right, breaking news coming in. The Election Commission, in fact, the Chief Election Commissioner has issued a statement saying that, and I'm quoting this particular statement of Mr. Gyanesh Kumar, where he says the implementation of the special intensive revision in Bihar is running as per schedule with active participation of all election staff and political parties in a most transparent manner. Despite apprehensions of some persons, special intensive revision will ensure that all eligible persons will be included. So that's the statement coming from the ECI that takes us across the border.
At 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let me introduce our panelists now. Joining us, we have Charu Pragya, BJP spokesperson. With us is Dr. Anand Raghunathan, author. Mr. O.P. Rawat is former Chief Election Commissioner of India. With us also is Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst here in our studio. With us also is Advocate Kapil Madan. Very clearly what has been stated, Tehseen, and let me just go by what the CEC has just said in a statement. He says that apprehensions of all sections will in fact be put at rest because it's all happening in a transparent manner. And the attempt is to include everyone. The statement also, I don't know if you've seen today's statement, where they've given it phase-wise as to how they will go about this intensive revision provision. And if it is there in the Representation of People Act, and what really is the objection?
Thank you so much, Madhav, for having me on the show. At the onset, good evening to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. No, obviously you cannot object to why is the voter list being revised. But let's go to the basics of it. The last time the SIR was done in Bihar was in 2003. 1 year before the Lok Sabha elections, 2 years before the assembly elections. That gave it sufficient time to get any discrepancies, any problems, any issues to the Honorable Election Commission. Therefore, it could correct those processes. Today, that's not the case. They want to do this in a month, month and a half, 2 months. They're saying they're doing it in phases, number one. Number two, we also understand that Bihar is a state where we have the most amount of migration in the country, where people migrate to other states to work. Now for this, because they have to give their passport size photographs, come there, give their name, identity, all of that, they will have to leave work and come back. Then they go back and they come back to vote. Who's thought of this? Then what happens in case of error? Because I read that statement. What happens? They say there's sufficient time. How do they choose to address the question of errors? What is the technology that is being used? How is this technology foolproof? What was the population in 2003 versus the population now? Obviously, that's gone up. And also understand that some areas of Bihar, particularly the areas with the Nepal border, are facing floods. How do poor people have the documentation? All of this is being done in a haste. And I find it surprising that the Election Commission would choose to give a statement like this rather than actually conduct this exercise way before time, therefore leaving no scope for any questions to be asked.
Okay, let me bring in Charu Pragya. Charu Pragya, it's all happening very last minute. There isn't enough time to complete the procedures. Your response to Tehseen?
Madhav, good evening, and good evening to all our viewers and my fellow co-panelists. See, I find it laughable. The problem with the Congress party is that they have lost complete direction of the electoral process. Next time, they're going to blame Google Maps because they have gone from blaming EVMs to now the Election Commission. Every single time they shift the goalpost because they have nothing concrete and nothing substantial to talk about. The Election Commission has responded sufficient time with ample details if they only bother to listen. Form 6, Form 7, the formalities are such that no name can be added, no name can be deducted without proper verification. And this verification process happens through BLAs. And the opposition has more BLAs on ground than the BJP does at present. They are there. And free elections are being conducted across the country, not just in Bihar. A surge in voter registration is absolutely normal. In fact, the opposition should be applauding our democracy and saying that everything is happening in a free way, in a transparent way for everyone to see. You know, the ironic thing is that every time they win, they've got no complaints. But when they anticipate a loss, they start crying wolf from the beginning. Congress needs to do a thorough recheck of the narrative it picks in front of people.
No, but the response to this, and let me add to what she's saying. You know, today in a press conference, the Congress party has said that there is a conspiracy being hatched to attack the right to vote. Now, that's a pretty drastic statement to make. You agree, Tehseen Purawala? And I'm just going to read out Section 21(3) of the Representation of People Act, that the Election Commission may at any time direct a special revision of the electoral roll for any constituency or part of a constituency in such a manner as it may think fit. And as per the schedule given, there are 3 months being given. They are not skipping any steps. They have given a 5-phase step, in fact, 6 phases in which the electoral roll will be published. What is the objection to this?
May I start with
one more very critical point, Tehseen.
Sure, Charu. Please make it. I'll answer that. Sure.
So, one, when they talked about Maharashtra elections, every time a statement came from Congress, the number of voters kept changing. They don't even know how many voters they are claiming were irregular. That's the first thing. The second thing that they need to pay attention to is that after Rahul Gandhi levied all these allegations, the Election Commission invited him. On the 12th, he received a letter. He was invited for a conversation. You know what he did? He did not turn up. They asked for more time.
I can answer those.
Respond to that. Respond to that. Respond to that, and then go across to other panelists.
I want to answer the first part. I'll answer the RG part later. Let me answer the first part. Charu first said tomorrow you will blame Google Maps. Google Maps is not a constitutional body. The Election Commission of India is a constitutional body. Yes, you read out the provisions, but law is not merely supposed to be legal. There's supposed to be an element of morality and intent. You may take refuge behind legality. Where is the morality and the intent? So may I come to that? Charu rightly said proper verification is required. She addressed the exact point I'm saying. People who are working outside, for example, in Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Jharkhand, etc. Now have to come to Bihar, then go back and come back again, which was not required. Now she says you should be happy there's a surge. Except we are very happy there's a surge. Except mysteriously when Arvind Kejriwal loses, I'm no fan of Arvind Kejriwal. You know I dislike Arvind Kejriwal's politics. His constituency, their voters go down. Everywhere else they go up. She says when Congress is a sore loser, Karnataka when they win, they don't complain. Maharashtra, they complain. No. In Karnataka, also Congress complained. I wasn't sure with you where the Election Commission's doubt. There are a lot of questions raised. In Maharashtra, in Dhule, where the opposition candidate, that is the MBA candidate, won, the villagers still said the BJP had no business to get that vote.
Maharashtra High Court rejected that petition. About any wrongdoing, there was a specific petition. The High Court has rejected it. How often are we going on?
May I please answer that? Except that petition was a motivated petition, and I've said that on your floor. It was such a pathetic petition from newspaper reports, and actual petitions like ours have not come up. But may I make one point?
Please put those petitions. Take it to the Supreme Court also.
Make one last point on Rahul Gandhi. I am ready, and I'm saying this, Rahul Gandhi will come before the Chief Election Commission. I'm saying this on your TV. Play this.
Okay.
Please, 1 second. Please, just 1 second. After 5 o'clock, all those who voted in Maharashtra, give us the video recording. When the Honorable High Court asked you all to give it, you all changed that.
Okay. Let me bring in Mr. Rawat. Let me bring Mr. Rawat. Mr. Rawat, whether it comes to video footage, whether it comes to SIRs, as we are seeing in this particular case, at each stage, there appears to be questions that raise, and fine, opposition parties have a right to complain. Everyone has a right to free speech in this country. But the point being made over here is that, and I want you to come in on this, at any point of time, do you agree with the opposition that the Election Commission has been unfair or has not followed procedure? In the case of the SIR, they say it's being done too late as an afterthought. In the case of the video footage, they say that rules were changed last minute after court orders. Where do you stand on this, Mr. Rawat?
Actually, Election Commission is performing their mandatory function. Before every Election Commission is supposed to go in for revision. And revision with reference to the qualifying date. Earlier, qualifying date used to be only 1st January. But now the qualifying dates have become 4. 1st January, 1st April, 1st July, and 1st October. Now, Bihar election might be taking place in November. So, electoral roll must be with reference to 1st October. And therefore, revision was essential. It was mandatory. Second thing, migration. Somebody raised that issue. Migration never takes place during monsoon season because small pieces of land, kharif crop, local jobs are available to these people in Bihar. And they never migrate in monsoon season. So this is nature's bounty to the Election Commission that they will not be migrating.
It's a fact. It's a fact. If you ask anyone from Bihar, they'll tell you this.
No, people from Bihar and Maharashtra
because
right now,
this is the
Gujarat,
season where they can work their land.
Mr. Rawat, I have a lot of respect for you, sir. But please get out of the AC office and come on the ground.
Have you heard of reverse migration? Once again, on this very point, have you heard of reverse migration? It actually happens in Bihar where people leave their welfare jobs in cities and come back to work at that point of time.
Are you telling me in Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, my Bihar fellow citizens are not there?
No, large number of them who want to work on their land actually come.
I understand you are a professional bureaucrat.
No, let him. He's been a CC. He knows a thing or two more about you, about how elections are conducted. Allow him to make his point. What he's saying is absolutely right on the facts, and he has also nailed the argument. He has also nailed the argument, Tehseen, because he has come out to say that your entire argument of why it was done in 2003, 1 year before, because the entire new voter registration process, which was changed a few years ago, was annual. It has now become something that happens every 3 months and quarterly.
January 2004?
It has become every quarterly, so it's necessary for us to do it. What he's saying is, once again, listen to him. He's a former CC. Let him come out. Let him make the points, because he's giving you the specific logistical and practical reasons why it's being done. Listen to him. Mr. Rawat, please conclude the point. Mr. Rawat, please conclude the point, because these are two very important points that you made. Yes, please continue.
There are two migrations. One is permanent. They settle in Mumbai, they settle in Kolkata, everywhere. Another is seasonal migration. Permanent migration means they become voters there. They don't remain voter here. Seasonal migration is only during Rabi crop season, and therefore that will not be there at present, and this exercise can go without any trouble to voters. Third thing is about time. 3 months is good enough. In fact, every revision in the past history would take only 3 months. Even if 2 years gap is there, it won't require 2 years. It will be only 3 months. 1 month for draft publication, 1 month for objection, 1 month for decision and final publication. That is the standard practice.
Okay, let me bring in Kapil Madan now. Kapil Madan, all of these points that have been made, and it's fine. Opposition parties have a right to complain. But the point over here, it appears, is that this is just an exercise to take on the Election Commission, because you have Mr. Jairam Ramesh coming out and giving glib slogans such as "Ek note bandi tha, ab vote bandi ho raha hai." These may be catchy phrases, but are they rooted in facts?
So, Madhav, let me begin by saying when we had our elections, the general election in 2024, what stopped the Election Commission to have this kind of an exercise just before the general elections? That's point number one. And if you're saying that, in general elections, you had, voter list which was incomplete, or, the data was not perfect. And are you trying to say that those data and the people who have voted in the 2024 elections, those were all bogus votes? My point number two is we all saw, especially in Bihar, BJP's vote share has gone down. Their seat tallies as compared to the previous election have also gone down. And therefore, perhaps it appears to be another gimmick, through which they can attack on the, voters who don't align with the ideology and philosophy of BJP. And my point number three, you have spoken about legality and process. let me also, raise another point insofar as the process is concerned. Now, insofar as the timelines, at least, which I could got, there is only a window of 30 months within which someone can file an objection. Now, are you trying to say that within the 30 months, if the authority is not aligned and if the authority is not accepting the objection made by someone, you could have all classes of people, someone who could not be as well educated, someone who may not have legal representation, someone who may not have even time and resources to fight those kind of an objection. There is a window of only 30 days. And on 1st of September, you will come out with the final voter list, and perhaps that will become the basis on which you will contest election. I mean, in all fairness, I would say that while it is the constitutional responsibility of the election commissions to frame, to modify or revise the voter list, but the process that they should adopt should be just, fair and reasonable.
Dr. Anantha, I'm just going to come to you in a minute. Since he's asked two very technical questions related to election management, I'd like the former CC, Mr. Rawat, to reply to that. Mr. Rawat, he is asking two questions. He says, if this is the case, then why was there no SIR done in the case of 2024 Lok Sabha elections? Is that indeed a factually correct question? And number two, why is the the remedy which is being given, why is the time limit of 30 days applied? Isn't that too less? Two questions from Kapil Madan, sir. Would you like to answer those?
Even before 24 election, revision was ordered and it was completed. So there is no reason. Another thing is bogus voter. Anybody who has voted was in the electoral roll, and therefore no bogus voting can be called in any election based on the finally published electoral roll. Third is, time is good enough. Every revision, whether it is intensive or summary revision in the past also, it takes only about 3 months. Whether period is 2 years left for the election is immaterial, because before election also there will be a summary revision to bring the electoral roll in line with the qualifying date just before the election. So it's not that the 2 years will give some leeway for any other action or activity.
Okay, respond to that, Kapil Madan. I hope both your questions were answered.
So, Madhav, in fact, as far as I could, check on the, information that is available on the public platforms, I could not, find any SIR being conducted, especially for Bihar, just before 2024 elections. I mean, you can fact check me. At least I could not, get that data.
Okay,
but assuming what Mr. Rawat is saying,
there are all kinds of revisions. See, there are summary, there are SSRs, there are SIRs, there are various kinds of revisions, which is what the former CC was referring to. You may not have seen the intensive revision right before the Lok Sabha poll, but it would have happened at some point of time.
No, allow me to make my point. If that being so, if they have done an exercise just before the elections, which happened almost a year ago, then what prompted them to have another exercise just after 12 months?
Sir, because the question is, it is the same opposition parties which are raising questions on the purity of the voter list. Anand Ragnathan, just let Anand come. He's not coming to the debate. Dr. Ragnathan, the point that I find a little strange, and you can come in on this, is that he says that why are they doing this only in the case of Bihar? But last several months, we've seen the same opposition parties asking questions about how correct the voter lists are, with the experience of Maharashtra. So in a sense, the ECI only has former CEC, Mr. Rawat, present here, but the ECI would come out and say, we are damned if we do and we are damned if we don't.
Good evening, Madhav, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I've been waiting for my turn very patiently for 20 minutes. I hope my fellow panelists give me the courtesy of a couple of minutes of uninterrupted time. But Madhav, I begin by asking you as to which is more dangerous, half-truth or a lie? And which should I expose first? Because half-truth has been spoken by my good friend Tehseen, and lie has been spoken by my equally good friend Kapil Madan. So perhaps I should begin with the half-truth, because I believe that is more dangerous. Now, Tehseen, when he talks about SIR being conducted in Bihar, he speaks of 2003, and he says ample time was given. Why after, so long ago? He doesn't mention that in 2002, 20 states underwent SIR. 20 states. And in so many of those states, they held state elections as well. He doesn't mention that in 2003, 2004, 7 states underwent SIR before the 2004 general election. This is a common exercise. That is why I'm telling you, I think the time has come for the Election Commission. You see, I employ the Anderson razor. I don't blame Warren Anderson for escaping, because that is what criminals do. the butcher of Bhopal. I blame the people who allowed him to escape. So I don't blame the Congress and all the opposition leaders for, alleging all the malpractice. I blame the Election Commission for not suing the pants off them. Because when every day and night they cast aspersions on the integrity of an autonomous body like EC, it actually muddles the mind of Indian voters. They are actually, this is no longer in the realm of free speech, Madhav, please understand. This goes in the realm of defamation and they should be sued. Because how many times do you think in the last 2 years has Election Commission come out again and again, last in the case of Maharashtra elections, clarified not once but 3 times. I have come on your show twice, laid out everything on the table, and yet it continues every night. Now they refuse, they talk only of Bihar. They're not talking of 27 states. They're not talking of 2002. 20 states underwent SIR. Why? I want to ask Tehseen this. Why was he silent about those 20 states?
Can I also
respond to that, Tehseen? Respond to that. Because, the questions being raised by Kapil and Tehseen, very clearly there is historical precedence to this. It's happening as per the rules. What is the issue then?
Okay.
Madhav,
Now, Charu, may I just make 2 things? First, it is extremely... May I just make 1 point, please? Then I'll answer my good friend, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. It is extremely unfortunate that on a national television, somebody I have a lot of respect for, the ex-CEC, chose not to answer my good friend answers specifically. An SIR and a revision of voter list are 2 separate processes. The question that Kapil asked was very specific of 2024. That was a normal revision of voter list. It has nothing to do with SIR. It has nothing to do.
So in fact, a special summary revision, others a special intensive revision.
I request you, please allow me.
SSR and SR both allowed as per law.
I request you, please give me 30 seconds. In fact, if what the CEC said is mandated, then the 2024, why did you not do the SIR? The difference between the SIR and normal voter revision list is as different as chalk and cheese. But you come here and you mix these issues up on technical reasons and say we have to do this every quarter. Why didn't you do it then? Now let's come to 2003 and 2002.
They're 2 totally different issues. Why every quarter? I've explained to you. No, just a few years ago, the rules for enlisting young voters above the age of 18 changed from once a year to once a quarter. And which is why when you falsely compare 2003 to what's happening right now in Bihar, that's what Mr. Rawat just said. He said that when you compare the 2, it's chalk and cheese because that time the rules were different.
Answer that question
now they are different.
Now may I please answer that? I give you that and I give Mr. Rawat that. So by that same logic extended, Kapil Madan is right. Why didn't you do it before the Lok Sabha elections?
But Dr. Ranganathan just answered that. It happened in several states.
No, it didn't happen. He's talking about 2002.
Dr. Ranganathan and then Mr. Rawat. Yeah.
This is why Tehseen took most of his time in countering Mr. Rawat because he knew that he will not be able to counter me.
I would have. Give me the time I'll counter you.
He just said it. Yeah, please repeat that. Let Mr. Ranganathan repeat that. Yes.
Tehseen, in 2002, 20 states underwent SIR and in 2003, 2004, 7 states. Why did you not mention this? Please answer me yes or no.
1 second. In 2002, were there the Lok Sabha elections? In 2002, how many of those 22 states went state elections?
So
2.
Is it Lok Sabha election now?
1 second. Please go to the list of the 22 states. Hold on. And it was still done. Anand, please. It was still done 2 years before the Lok Sabha elections. Now, holding your argument, here, why didn't you do it before 2024 Lok Sabha elections?
No.
You choose where to do it in a state where you're not going to win.
Now, listen. No, Madhav, please allow me to reply.
Why didn't you do it in 2023?
One moment. Okay. Let Anand respond now. Please, you made your point. Let him respond and then I have to go across to others. Let him respond. Don't heckle him. Don't heckle him.
I'm quiet.
Yeah.
He's not just changed the goalpost, he shifted the entire stadium. Now, please don't interrupt. What I meant to say was that right now SIR is being conducted in Bihar. The general election is a good 4 years away. In 2002, 20 states underwent SIR. Many of those states conducted election like Bihar is conducting right now. And in 2003, 2004, 7 states underwent SIR. And next year, perhaps in the same year, 2004, general elections were conducted and Congress won. So should we say that Congress won because of SIR was conducted?
Right, and I can see online that there's at least Delhi and several other states where there was an SSR that was done in the year 2024. So let me bring in Mr. Rawat on this. Mr. Rawat, this whole bogey that Tehseen is saying and coming out with, where he says that there is a difference between SSR and SIR. And granted, there is difference in the procedure. But all are ultimately exercises aimed at purifying the voter list. He is saying that there is no such SIR. that was done before 2024 Lok Sabha polls. Is that a factually correct statement to make, Mr. Rawat?
Election Commission is mandated to have a revision, either intensive or summary before every election, to bring the electoral roll in line with the qualifying date. That electoral roll is updated to the qualifying date which is relevant for that election. Therefore, they conduct, depending on the facts and material before them.
Absolutely.
Now, I think after Maharashtra election, they were bombarded with so many complaints on electoral roll that they felt that after Bihar the same thing happens, so better is to go for intensive instead of summary revision.
Yes.
That's the only difference.
Yes, and that's why. Absolutely. And in fact, Tehseen, you must answer that, because your party and other opposition parties have been putting pressure on EC, saying purify the voter list, don't bring any changes. If they're going for an intensive revision, you have a problem with that also.
Yeah.
No.
Of course.
No.
That's exactly what Mr. Rawat is
You are doing it only at a time when Bihar elections are there, only to ensure that the BJP...
Because you complained about Maharashtra elections.
We complained about...
You went to the High Court, you went to the Election Commission, you repeatedly changed questions about why voters have increased in constituencies, and all of that was proved to be factually incorrect.
May I please answer your question as simply as I can? I am complaining about the administration department of my great friend Dr. I.N.D.I.A. JNU, and you are doing it Jamia. I am complaining about Maharashtra, saying I'll take care of Bihar.
So the
Bhaiya, mera sawal tha apne
but
Maharashtra
the
mein.
quality, but the complaint is about quality of education everywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's Jamia or JNU.
Allow me the courtesy. Now you are telling me I'm complaining about Maharashtra, but hey, the court told you I'll give you Maharashtra video recording. We will not give you. What we'll do is we'll anticipate your complaint of Bihar and we'll take care of that.
Guess where the next election is.
So
guess where the election is and what will happen if you keep the video recording, and again the same questions will arise. But Charu wants to come in. Yes, Charu Pragya.
Yes. So, okay, Form 7 is your official tool to challenge the voter list for errors. It's not a secret. Why did you not make use of it? You sat on election results for 6 months. 6 months later, on foreign soil, you bring up Maharashtra elections. Tell me the logic of that. Secondly, CCTV and webcasts, it cannot be forever. There is a 45-day limit. It was held for 45 days. Where were you? It is the legally mandated window to raise your petitions, to raise your concerns. Why did you not use every single tool that was available to your party? You didn't. And after that, in spite of all of this, when Rahul Gandhi continued to raise allegations, the Election Commission didn't refuse Rahul Gandhi. They were addressed. Everything was explained. The process, officer deployment data was shared. Even a one-on-one meeting was offered to Rahul Gandhi on the 12th of June. Please tell me, why did you not make use of all these tools? You sleep on it and then you wake up one day suddenly, because like I said, you've got nothing.
I want Kapil to answer that. Kapil, you're a lawyer. There are so many legal tools available to set things right if there's any wrong. And I'm sure courts of this country will intervene. But unfortunately, that has not been happening. The High Court rejecting one petition, as I asked Tehseen earlier, and all other options also which were there to exercise. In fact, what's very mind-boggling is that the Election Commission says we had fixed a meeting for 5 o'clock and only 2 parties, the CPIML Liberation and the CPI, responded. All other parties came last minute.
Madhav, let me say just one thing here. You have seen all opposition parties consistently raising, and they have given data-driven points on which they have sought clarification from VC. And one of the issues raised by the opposition was that why they should be given the CCTV footages of the polling booth. Now, tell me one good reason, if EC has nothing to hide, if they have done all their processes in proper manner with all legality and with all sanitization, give me one good reason why would EC deny such information which is as basic or as simple as just giving the CCTV footage. You give me one reason, one good reason. Why would the Election Commission won't give the CCTV footages?
Charu Pragya, you want to respond to that? Why did EC not give the CCTV footage? And today you have the Congress and other parties saying, why are restricting our numbers to 2? 2 questions that opposition is raising today. Quick response.
Yes. The simple thing is that there is again a procedure. You apply on paper in writing to the courts. Any random person cannot come and ask for CCTV footage. Please understand that. And this was explained by the Election Commission time and time again. And there is a limited number of days while it is available. Why did none of you act during that time? And let me tell you this, in December 2024, the Election Commission had a very extensive press conference addressing all of this. Frankly, now I think all people in the Congress party should go back and look at that press conference again, because you need that clarity which has been given to you multiple times. Not everybody in Congress can be Balak Buddhi, no?
All right. Let's leave it there. They're completely out of time on this debate. Charu Pragya as well as Mr. O.P. Rawat, Tehseen Purawala and Kapil Madan. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. Dr. Anand Ranganathan stays with us for debate number 2 of the NewsHour Agenda.